talk about college football linebackers, the linebackers that are coming back in Texas in college football in 2018. And I will tell you that over the course of this process, this is, I think, as similar to the quarterback situation as we've gotten. Because a lot of the headliners, a lot of the big-time guys are gone. And so you're going to have to take some sort of projection pick of some kind, or you're going to have to go with a guy who maybe put up okay numbers but wasn't necessarily. Because a lot of the heavy hitters are gone. Same thing goes with linebackers. This is totally unlike defensive linemen, where there was one guy. Here, we have a number of linebackers that I think could be in the mix, but the problem is the best ones I think are gone. Okay, Traven Howard, probably the best linebacker in the state last year.
He's awesome.
With all due respect to Malik Jefferson, he's gone.
Malik
Jefferson, he's gone. Emmanuel Ellerbe, who had continued the tradition of Rice having one really awesome linebacker and not much else. Emmanuel Ellerbe is gone. E.J. Ajayi from North Texas is gone. Julian Jackson from UTEP is gone. Alvin Jones from UTEP is gone. Lakel Bass from UTSA is gone. DeJuan Hines from Houston is gone. All these guys are gone.
Yep.
And we are left with guys who have either shown flashes but then had maybe a step back last year, or guys who maybe put up big-time numbers but don't necessarily pass the eye test, or vice versa.
Right.
Guys who pass the eye test, but then you go and you look at the numbers, you're like, oh, well, that's okay.
Right.
So let's start with one guy that I think is going to be at or near the top of the list, and that's Dakota Allen from Texas Tech. Dakota Allen was the second-team Big 12 guy, and he put up a ton of numbers last year. It was really, really impressive for Texas Tech. But when I watch him, maybe it's just because he's just very workmanlike.
Right.
I've never felt like that's the best defensive player on the field.
Sure.
With him. It's just, and that's the eye test for me. The exact opposite for that is a guy like Otaro Alaka at Texas A&M. Otaro Alaka is, every time like he makes an impact, and you're like, whoa, there he is. Like, that guy is special. And then you go and you look at the numbers, and it's like, oh, well, he had, I'll even pull up the numbers. Yeah. Like, they were not impressive. Last year, he averaged 6 tackles a game.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like, that's fine. He was third on the team in tackles. Wasn't even the top tackling linebacker. Tyrell Dotson was, by a large margin, by the way. So for me, you've got those guys. Then you've got guys who are kind of flying under the radar a little bit. I think Clay Johnston at Baylor is a little underrated. Jordan Brooks at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about a guy who maybe passes the eye test more than Dakota Allen does, he does.
Yeah.
Doesn't put up the same numbers.
Right.
And then you're getting into guys maybe at Texas. Texas State actually had a couple of guys in Brian London and Frankie Griffin who had nice years. And then you've got, to me, 2 guys who have flashed all conference potential.
Yeah.
But for one reason or another last year were just okay.
Yeah.
One of them is Ty Summers at TCU.
Right.
Ty Summers, as a freshman, I believe he was, was a man on fire. Mm-hmm. He was incredible. And you're like, this is the next big thing at TCU. Last year at TCU, he was okay.
Yeah.
He was nothing special.
Part of a great unit.
Yeah, exactly right.
But the numbers weren't what you expected them to be.
64 tackles.
Right.
I mean, just really wasn't that much. He did have an interception, 8 tackles. So he did have 4 sacks. He's a little bit more of a rush end than he is a linebacker. But, the numbers, it didn't feel like he was making that big of an impact.
Right.
Part of that is the defensive line was really good. But I thought I was mildly disappointed in Ty Summers' sophomore year, or junior year, rather. Okay. The other guy is Josiah Tauefa.
Woo!
At UTSA. And he is easy to notice.
Yep.
Because he's got the big flowing hair coming out of the back. But he was banged up last year. He was nicked up. He only played in 8 games last year for the Roadrunners. And so his numbers took a dip. So the question for him, because he was unbelievable as a freshman in 2016, rather. Yeah. He was arguably their best overall player.
Yeah.
So now the question for him is this a sign of... The question on him is does he have durability issues?
Right.
Right? And you can't have durability issues as a linebacker. That's a spot you can't do it. You can get away with that at maybe corner. Somewhere else you can't do it there. So Here are, to me, my 5 guys that I would put in the top 5. First is Frankie Griffin at Texas State. He's a third-team All-Sun Belt guy last year. I thought he was really underrated because he played for a really bad team.
Right.
But I think he's going to be in the mix. He'd be my number 5 guy. Number 4 is Clay Johnston at Baylor. I think if you're looking for a guy to have a big leap defensively for Baylor, I think it could be Clay Johnston in the middle of that defense. I think he was, for a defense that wasn't very good, he can be that kind of leader that they need. Number 3 for me is Ty Summers.
Yeah.
Part of it is because he's going to be surrounded by so much talent, especially up front, that he doesn't have to do as much. But I want to see, going into his senior year, I want to see that big jump. I want to see that leap and go from being a pretty good linebacker to, like, all-conference guy, like, holy cow, he's the best player on the field. I want to see that.
Right.
Number 2 for me is Dakota Allen. I think that Dakota Allen is a guy who the numbers speak for themselves. And if you're looking for a productive linebacker who is just going to put on his workman boots and go out there and play every game, Dakota Allen's your guy. I think there's a lot of things to like about Dakota Allen. I know it feels like I'm crapping on him. I promise I'm not. He doesn't make the spectacular plays. I think that's one of the things that ends up drawing him back. But I do think that he makes the plays he needs to, and I think that he's very sound. And
yeah.
So if you're looking for the big flashy linebacker who's going to jump off the film, it's probably not Dakota Allen. But he is sound as the day is long.
Yeah.
And that is something that's really important.
Can't argue with the numbers.
For Texas Tech defense that needs it. Number 1 for me is Josiah Tauefa. I think he was the best linebacker in the state in 2016. I think he's got a great shot. I think he would have been the best linebacker in the state last year if he hadn't been injured. And I think that if he stays healthy, I think he's probably the most talented linebacker in the state. Honorable mentions to guys like Otaro Alaka and Jordan Brooks. But for me, those are the guys, even Brian London at Texas State, those are the guys to me that represent the best linebackers in Texas heading into 2018 from a returning standpoint. The good thing is that I think that linebacker is a spot where you see a lot more youngsters. You will see freshmen and sophomores get in and get these guys. So these are the best returners.
Right.
But we could be, in 7 months, be talking about a guy who is completely off our radar.
Yeah. I also think there's probably a decent shout for Gary Johnson on that list.
Yeah.
I know that the Texas defense had its ups and downs last year. And I know no one's sold completely on that linebacker core in general, but I do think he was an immediate addition that's made a nice impact.
He was. Yeah. I was a little. Yeah. I'm a little less optimistic about him than others, but I agree the tools are there, and maybe a second year in the Herman system will help. So that's our look at linebackers return.
Yeah. I also wouldn't be stunned, by the way, if just some dude at TCU who we aren't talking about right now ends up being the best linebacker of the state.
Oh yeah.
That's just what TCU does.
That's what TCU is. Is they put out guys. They have guys who just make those big leaps, like Montrell Wilson might end up being like the best linebacker.
Right.